I was sitting alone in my dark apartment holding a diamond ring that was supposed to be on her finger by now. 3 years. 3 years of loving Pascale, of building dreams together, of believing she was the woman I would spend my life with. I never thought a social media post would shatter everything I believed about us. That night after she said no, my phone buzzed with an Instagram notification. And what I saw in her profile made me realize I never really knew her at all. Before we dive into this story, let me know in the comments where you are watching from today. If you have ever had your heart broken by someone you trusted, completely hit that like button. And make sure you subscribe so you do not miss what happened 6 months later when everything changed. I met Pascale 3 years ago at a small coffee shop in Austin, Texas. I was 25 at the time, working as a software engineer at a tech company downtown. She walked in wearing a yellow sundress, her brown hair catching the afternoon light, and I could not look away. She ordered a lavender latte, something I had never heard of, and when she caught me staring, she smiled instead of looking annoyed. We ended up talking for 3 hours that day. She was a marketing specialist at a startup, ambitious and full of energy. We discovered we both loved traveling to small towns, cooking Italian food on Sunday evenings, and watching obscure independent films that nobody else had heard of. By the time the coffee shop closed, I had her number, and a feeling in my chest that this was something special. The first year was everything I had ever wanted in a relationship. Pascale was affectionate, thoughtful, and constantly talking about our future together. She would point out houses in the suburbs and say things like, "That would be perfect for us one day with a big backyard for our kids to play in." She talked about wanting 2 children, a boy and a girl, and how she wanted to name them after her grandparents. I fell deeper in love with every conversation. Her family welcomed me warmly. Her mother, Linda, treated me like a son from the very first dinner. Her father, who had passed away when she was young, was often mentioned in stories, and Pascal would say I reminded her of him in the best ways. My own parents adored her. My mother started asking about grandchildren within 6 months of meeting her. Everything felt like it was falling into place. But looking back now, there were signs I chose to ignore. Pascal was obsessed with her image on social media, particularly Instagram. She would spend 30 minutes taking the perfect photo of our dinner before we could eat. She would get upset if a post did not get enough likes within the first hour. She followed dozens of accounts with names like Boss Babe Empire and Independent Queen Living, and she would share their posts constantly. Sometimes she would make comments that bothered me, though I pushed them aside. She would see engagement announcements from people we knew and say things like, "She settled way too young. She has no idea what she is missing." Or she would watch friends get married and whisper, "I hope she does not regret giving up her freedom." I told myself these were just observations, not reflections of how she felt about us. When I asked her about marriage, about our timeline, she always reassured me. "Of course I want to marry you, Marcus," she would say, kissing my cheek. "I just want us to be ready. I want it to be perfect." I believed her because I wanted to believe her. I trusted her words over the subtle warnings that were right in front of my face. After 2.5 years together, I decided it was time. I spent 6 months saving for the perfect ring, a 2-carat diamond in a classic setting that I knew she would love. I went to her mother for permission, and Linda cried happy tears saying she had been waiting for this moment. I booked a table at the Italian restaurant where we had our first official date, the one with the candles and the live violin music. I practiced my speech in front of the mirror until I had every word memorized. I was nervous but excited. I imagined her face lighting up when she saw the ring. I pictured her jumping into my arms saying yes before I even finished the question. I had already started looking at houses online, imagining where we would raise our family. I was so certain of our future that I never considered any other outcome. The reservation was for 7:30 on a Friday evening. I wore my best suit, the navy one she had helped me pick out for a company event. She wore a stunning red dress that made every head turn when she walked in. We ordered wine and appetizers, laughing about things that had happened during the week. She seemed happy, relaxed, completely normal. I had no idea that in less than 2 hours my entire world would collapse. The restaurant was perfect that night. Soft candlelight flickered across the white tablecloths, and the violin player in the corner was performing our favorite song from the first night we danced together. I had requested it specifically, wanting every detail to be exactly right. Pascale was glowing, sipping her wine, and telling me about a project at work that was going well. She had no idea what was coming, and I felt my heart racing with anticipation. We finished our main course, and the waiter cleared our plates. This was the moment I had been waiting for. The violin shifted to a softer melody, and I reached into my jacket pocket, feeling the velvet box against my fingers. My palms were sweating, but I had never been more sure of anything in my life. I stood up from my chair and walked around to her side of the table. Pascale looked up at me with curiosity. Then her eyes widened as I lowered myself onto one knee. The restaurant grew quiet as other diners noticed what was happening. I took her hand in mine, feeling it tremble slightly. Pascale, I began, my voice thick with emotion. 3 years ago, you walked into a coffee shop and changed my life forever. You have been my best friend, my partner, my everything. I cannot imagine spending a single day without you. I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life. I want to build a home with you, raise a family with you, grow old with you. I opened the box, revealing the diamond that had taken me 6 months to afford. Will you marry me? The silence that followed was not the kind I had imagined. It was not the breathless pause before an excited yes. It was heavy, uncomfortable wrong. Pascale stared at the ring, then looked up at me, and I saw something in her eyes that made my stomach drop. It was not joy. It was not surprise. It was something closer to panic. Marcus, she whispered, pulling her hand away from mine. I cannot. I stayed frozen on one knee, unable to process what she had just said. The violin player kept playing, unaware that my heart was breaking in real time. Other diners looked away, embarrassed for me. I finally managed to speak. What do you mean you cannot? She shook her head, tears forming in her eyes. I am not ready for this. I am only 27. There is so much I have not done yet, so many goals I have not achieved. Marriage is not in my plans right now. I stood up slowly, my legs shaking. Not in your plans. You have been talking about our wedding for 3 years. You picked out names for our children. What do you mean it is not in your plans? Pascale looked down at the table, unable to meet my eyes. I love you, Marcus, but I need more time. I might get promoted next year, and I want to focus on my career. I cannot commit to this right now. I asked her if I had done something wrong, if there was something I could change. She kept saying no, that I was wonderful, that I was perfect, but the timing just was not right. I offered to wait to give her more time, but she said she did not know how long it would take. Months, years, maybe never. We finished the evening in painful silence. I paid the bill and drove her home without saying a word. She kissed my cheek at her door and said she needed some time alone to think. I drove back to my apartment feeling like I was underwater, like everything was happening in slow motion. I sat in the darkness for hours, the ring box still in my hand. I could not sleep, could not think, could not understand how the best night of my life had become the worst. Around midnight, desperate for any kind of distraction, I opened Instagram and began scrolling aimlessly. That is when I saw it. Pascale had posted something just 30 minutes earlier at 1:15 in the morning. It was a selfie, her face confident and beautiful with perfect makeup despite the late hour. The caption read, "Know your worth, queens. Do not settle for less. The right thing will come at the right time." I read those words over and over, feeling each one like a knife in my chest. Hundreds of people had already liked it. Her friends were commenting things like, "Yes, queen, and you deserve the world." They had no idea that less than 3 hours ago she had rejected a man who loved her more than anything. And I finally understood. I was the less she was refusing to settle for. I was the thing that was not quite right enough. The days after the proposal were the darkest of my life. Pascale did not call. She did not text to check on me or explain further. She simply disappeared from my life while continuing to post inspirational quotes on Instagram about independence and self-worth. Every post felt like salt in a wound that would not stop bleeding. I tried to go to work, but I could not concentrate. My manager noticed that my code was full of errors, that I was missing deadlines I had never missed before. He pulled me aside and asked if everything was okay at home. I lied and said I was fine, but nothing was fine. I stopped going to the gym. I stopped cooking the Italian dinners I used to love. I ate takeout alone in my apartment and lost 5 pounds in 2 weeks because nothing tasted like anything anymore. My friends reached out asking what had happened. Word had gotten around that I had proposed, and she had said no. I did not know what to tell them. She said she was not ready. Felt like a lie. But I did not have the words for the truth. My mother called every day, her voice full of concern and barely concealed anger at Pasquale. I told her I just needed time. 2 weeks after that night, Pasquale finally texted me. She said she had been thinking and wanted to meet to explain things better. I agreed, even though part of me knew I should not. I still loved her. I still hoped there was some explanation that would make everything make sense. We met at the same coffee shop where we had first talked 3 years earlier. She was wearing casual clothes this time, jeans and a sweater, her hair pulled back in a ponytail. She looked beautiful as always, but there was something different in her eyes, a hardness I had not noticed before. She started by apologizing for how she had handled things. She said she should have talked to me sooner about her doubts instead of letting me plan a proposal she knew she would reject. I asked her how long she had known, and she admitted it had been months. Months of letting me save for a ring, plan a perfect evening, believe in a future that was never going to happen. Then she said something that changed everything. "Marcus, I love you. I really do. But when I think about my future, I see something different than what we have. I want to travel to Europe, live in a big city, maybe Paris or London. I want a career that takes me around the world. And honestly," she paused, looking down at her coffee cup, "I always thought I would end up with someone more ambitious, someone who dreams bigger." I felt the words hit me like a punch to the chest. "More ambitious, I have a great career. I am about to be promoted. What are you talking about?" She shrugged, and the casualness of it broke something inside me. "You are happy with your life here, Marcus. Your job, your apartment, your routine. There's nothing wrong with that. But it is not what I want. I want someone who wants more, someone who matches my energy." I sat there in stunned silence, finally understanding. For 3 years, I had been a placeholder. I was good enough to date, good enough to bring home to her mother, but not good enough to build a life with. She had been waiting, hoping someone better would come along. And when no one did, she still could not bring herself to say yes to me. For the first time since that night in the restaurant, I did not feel sad. I felt angry. Not the explosive kind of anger that makes you yell or throw things, but a cold, quiet fury at myself for not seeing the truth sooner. I had spent 3 years proving my love to someone who was never going to see my worth no matter what I did. I left that coffee shop a different person. I went home and looked at her Instagram one more time at that post about knowing your worth and not settling. And I did something I had never done before. I liked the post. And then I left a comment that was only 2 words long, "Kings too." Within hours, my comment had more likes than anything I had ever posted. Strangers were replying with support, sharing their own stories of being made to feel less than enough. Pasquale never responded, but I saw that she had viewed my comment. That was all the acknowledgement I needed. I decided that day to take her advice. I was going to know my worth, and I was going to stop giving it to people who did not deserve it. The next 6 months transformed me in ways I never expected. I threw myself into becoming the best version of myself, not for Pascal, not for anyone else, but for me. I started waking up at 5:30 every morning to hit the gym before work. I signed up for a guitar class I had been putting off for years. I said yes to social invitations I would have declined before meeting new people and expanding my world. At work, I channeled my energy into projects that had been collecting dust on my desk. I proposed new ideas in meetings instead of staying quiet. Within 3 months, I was promoted to senior engineer with a significant raise. My manager said he had never seen such a dramatic improvement in someone's performance. I did not tell him that heartbreak was the best motivator I had ever found. I also made a conscious decision to stay off Pascale's social media. I did not block her, but I unfollowed her and stopped checking her profile. Whatever she was doing with her life was no longer my concern. I had wasted enough mental energy on someone who did not value what I had to offer. 4 months after the breakup, I attended a charity event for a local animal shelter. A friend had dragged me there, promising it would be good for me to do something meaningful. I was standing near the refreshment table, feeling awkward in a room full of strangers, when a woman approached me with a warm smile. Her name was Simone. She was a veterinarian at a small clinic across town, dedicated to helping animals that had been abandoned or abused. She had kind eyes and a laugh that made everyone around her feel at ease. We talked for 2 hours that night about everything and nothing. And when the event ended, she gave me her number, without me even asking. Dating Simone was completely different from dating Pascale. She did not care about Instagram or impressing strangers on the internet. She was more interested in whether I had enjoyed my day than whether I could afford a fancy dinner. She asked about my childhood, my dreams, my fears, things Pascal had never seemed curious about. She made me feel seen in a way I had not felt in years. After 2 months together, I knew Simone was the one. Not because she was perfect, but because she loved me for exactly who I was. She did not want me to be more ambitious or more exciting. She wanted me the real me, the one who was happy with a quiet life filled with genuine connection. 6 months after Pascale rejected my proposal, I found myself at the same park where Simone and I walked her rescue dog every Sunday. It was a cool autumn morning, the leaves turning gold and red around us. I had the same ring in my pocket, the one that had once represented my broken dreams. But now, it meant something entirely different. I got down on one knee in the middle of the trail, and Simone's eyes filled with tears before I even said a word. I told her that she had shown me what real love looked like, that she had helped me understand my own worth by simply seeing it, without me having to prove anything. And when I asked her to marry me, she said yes before I even finished the question. That evening, I posted a simple photo of us on Instagram, our hands intertwined with the ring visible on her finger. The caption was short. She said yes. Sometimes the right person comes when you stop looking. I did not think about Pascale when I posted it. I was not trying to prove anything to her. I was simply happy and wanted to share that happiness with the people who cared about me. But later that night, my phone rang with a number I had not seen in 6 months. It was Pascale, and her voice was nothing like the confident, self-assured tone I remembered. "Marcus, I saw your post," she said, her words coming out shaky and rushed. "I need to talk to you. Please." I could hear the panic in her voice, the desperation. Part of me wanted to hang up to leave her in the silence she had left me in for months, but I had grown past the anger. I was curious to hear what she had to say. She admitted everything that night. The 6 months since our breakup had not gone the way she had planned. The ambitious men she thought she deserved turned out to be shallow and self-centered. The exciting life she had imagined remained just that, imagination. She had gone on dates with people who looked impressive on paper, but treated her like an option rather than a priority. "I made a mistake," she said, her voice breaking. "I did not know what I had until it was gone. You were the best thing that ever happened to me, and I was too stupid to see it. I know my worth now, Marcus, and it is with you. Please give me another chance." I listened without interrupting, letting her pour out months of regret and realization. When she finished, there was a long silence on the line. Then I spoke calmly and without bitterness. "Pascal, I need to thank you," I said. "That post you made about knowing your worth and not settling changed my life. I took your advice. I learned my own worth. And I found someone who sees it without me having to prove anything." I told her that I genuinely hoped she would find happiness, but that it would not be with me. I explained that sometimes the best thing someone can do for us is say no, because it forces us to find the yes we truly deserve. I wished her well and said goodbye. When I hung up the phone, I looked at Simone sleeping peacefully beside me, her hand resting on our dog curled up at our feet. I felt no anger toward Pascale, no satisfaction at her regret. I only felt gratitude for the path that had led me here. Looking back on everything now, I realized that the night Pascale rejected me was not the end of my story. It was the beginning. I had spent so long trying to be enough for someone who would never see my value that I had forgotten to see it myself. The healing did not happen overnight. There were weeks when I still woke up reaching for her side of the bed, months when a song or a smell would bring back memories I was trying to forget. But slowly, day by day, I rebuilt myself into someone stronger. Not because I wanted revenge or validation, but because I deserved to be happy. Simone taught me that real love is not about finding someone who completes you. It is about finding someone who celebrates who you already are. She never asked me to change, to dream bigger, to be more than I was. She simply loved me, and in doing so, she showed me what I had been missing all along. Know your worth is not just a caption for social media. It is a commitment to yourself. It means refusing to beg for love from people who see you as less than. It means walking away from situations that diminish you even when it breaks your heart. And it means trusting that when you stop settling, the right thing really does come at the right time. If you are watching this and you have ever felt like you were not enough for someone, I want you to know something. Their inability to see your worth does not decrease your value. It only reveals theirs. The people who are meant to love you will never make you question whether you deserve it. Now, I want to hear from you. Have you ever had someone reject you only to regret it later? How did you find your own worth after being made to feel less than? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today. If this story resonated with you, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more real stories about love loss and finding yourself. And share this video with someone who might need a reminder of their own worth today. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope wherever you are in your journey, you remember that knowing your worth is not arrogance, it is survival. And sometimes, the best thing that happens to you is someone saying no, because it opens the door for someone who will always say yes. Take care of yourselves and never forget kings and queens deserve to be treated like royalty. Do not settle for anything less.